YouTube, what's up? How's everybody doing? It's your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Try with me.
What's up?
So this video was recorded on February 3rd, but I'm just dropping it now because Try never really heard a Van Halen album. So the album that we want to talk about today is their 1984 epic album, 1984.
Yes.
This was released. What y'all know? Fuck yeah. This was released on Warner Brothers Records, produced by Ted Templeman. This was the last album that they've done with Ted Templeman. Singles I was known for are Jump, House of Pain, I'll Wait, Panama, Hot for Teacher, and Little Dreamer. And no guest appearances on the album. Y'all should know this is the last album that they've done with David Lee Roth because he left the following either late '84 or early '85, one of those times. But yeah, so try.
Yeah.
So how did you get into Van Halen? I know this is the album you heard, but do you have any memories of Van Halen when you were little?
I remember the video for Jump. Like I used to see that on like different video shows, MTV of course, and um it was always like I always thought the video was nice and David Lee Roth was energetic. He had a lot of energy and I remember like through Eddie Van Halen playing on Beat It for Michael Jackson and
Yes.
that album and just growing up with that album and during that time and just like seeing the band like evolve through the years with after David left and Sammy Hagar came in and I watched a lot of MTV and heard about the breakup and then Sammy leaving and then David coming back and it was I always was like aware of them. I just never was into their music at that time, but you
Right.
know yeah, I've always like if my curiosity is at the peak is at the point where I want to like hear a artist that I haven't listened to, then I'll listen to it. So I wanted to hear the album with Jump on it and see how it is. So that was like my introduction to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Jump was actually my introduction to Van Halen too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in elementary school, they used to always have this little jump rope like competition or whatever,
Right.
and they always put that the song "Jump" and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Then I just love the synthesizers
Yeah.
in the beginning and stuff like. And it's a very interesting story behind that song too, which I want to talk about.
Hmm.
Um, Low key, I never really told him about this, but Van Halen was really like one of the first early rock groups, the first rock groups I remember liking a lot as a kid.
Right.
Something about David Lee Roth just as a front man, and I can't go continue this video without saying rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen,
Yes. Yes.
a legend, one of the revolutionary guitar players ever. I mean, the Eruption solo alone just speaks his talent.
Yeah.
Um, Michael Anthony, one of the most underrated um, bass guitarists and stuff like that.
Right.
You got Alex on drums. I mean, Van Halen was just like a complete package. It was just like a feel good rock.
Right.
And I said that their debut pretty much set the archetype for like a lot of your favorite '80s rock groups and stuff like that too. In my opinion, I just felt
True.
like a lot of cats, especially from the California scene,
Hmm.
they tried to do their own version of that first Van Halen album and shit too.
Right.
But yeah, I've done a review on like the first Van Halen album a couple of years ago, which I said that was like the classic album.
Right.
Um, '79 they dropped them the Van Halen 2, which this might be sacrilege, but the Van Halen 2 was probably like my least favorite album from the classic lineup because I just felt like they were trying to redo what they did with Van Halen 1.
Right.
And so, in 1980, they came out with Their Women and Children First, which I feel like that album is very underrated. Like,
Hmm.
probably like one of the most darkest album that they came out with. Sonically, that's probably their best album mixing wise. And so, around this time too, in '81, they dropped the Diving Down LP, Diving Down album because originally They were supposed to have gone on a little break, but Warner Brothers really wanted a hit out of them, so they did Diving Down, which I kind of prefer. I think Diving Down is like my favorite Van Halen album.
Right.
To keep it real with you, I just feel like that was like more darker. Eddie's guitar was at his peak,
Right.
in my opinion.
Hmm.
No, no, excuse me. I'm tripping. Fair Warning, Diving Down. That's the one with the covers and stuff. Fair Warning came out in '81. That was my favorite album from them because that was like
Right.
more darker. And around this time too, David and Eddie were kind of going. They were kind of like this was the beginning of the band issues because a lot of this had to do with Eddie dating Valerie Bertinelli, which you guys should know from the show One Day at a Time,
Yep.
the original version, not the
Right.
reboot that's popular right now and stuff. And just tired of like these antics and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And they were just having like creative differences too because I read somewhere that David Lee Roth didn't like the fact that Eddie did Beat It with Michael. I don't know if that's 100% true.
But why would this? Why how's that hurting the group though?
I think around that time too, Eddie was experimenting and he had his own studio.
Right.
And so he was experimenting with the synthesizers because Van Halen, they were known for like the hard guitars. And David Lee Roth, he kind of had an issue with the synthesizer sound because, it was just felt like it wasn't really the band's sound.
Right.
And also around that time too, David Lee Roth was working on like it's a lot of issues with them.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just
Yeah.
like pointing out the main issues. Like
Right.
he was trying to do his own solo thing where he dropped his own solo EP and stuff like that. Because he did a cover of the Beach Boys song "California Girls"
Right.
and stuff like that too. So yeah, man. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. But yeah, like whenever I think about this album right here, it just
Hmm.
always I always think about the peak of MTV.
Right.
Um, the beginning day, the jump video. I remember when VH1 Classic, when rest in peace to VH1 Classic.
Yeah.
Um, I always used to see that like late at night and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Excuse me. And every time VH1 has like one of those little special, they always have like mention one or two songs from this album right here.
Right.
Um, Very dope album cover. I like the album cover. It just has like the angel
Yeah.
smoking the cigarette and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Pretty interesting too because what was interesting was the cover was actually censored in the UK because of course the kid holding the cigarette there was
Right.
like it was like controversial. So yeah, man, that's very interesting right there. This is Van Halen right here. Classic
Nice.
lineup.
Nice.
All right. So this album has about 9 songs. Well, technically 8 songs, but fuck it. I'm ready whenever you are.
Yeah.
Track number one, 1984. Very dope intro. It's pretty much like a little synth intro. You know, um, Pretty much that sets the whole tone of the album and stuff like just
Hmm.
sets the whole tone of the album. And I definitely loved. Eddie definitely did his thing with the synths on this album. I'm not gonna lie, especially like. And it's crazy too because the same way I felt like the first Van Halen album was very influential for 80s rock, I feel like this album itself was influential for the decade too. Like
Right.
it's like the first album and technically the last album was like the most influential one, which
Right.
I never seen a group like that. And when I mean the last, I mean the last with David Lee Roth, of course. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Definitely. It was definitely like the heavy synthesizers and the spacey noises on it, and it got you ready for the year of '84, and a lot of that was like a time of like a lot of sci-fi, great sci-fi films and TV shows, and I think it fit with the whole year.
Right. Yeah, man. Very, very, very dope intro, and which leads us into probably, in my opinion, one of my all-time favorite Van Halen songs, "Jump."
Right.
Man, like this is like a nostalgic favorite to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and then I hear that,
Yes.
it always gives me chills
Yes.
and stuff like that. It's interesting story about this track. So when I looked up this track, it was the original idea for this track came when David Lee Roth
Mm-hmm.
saw on TV about this cat trying to commit suicide by jumping off a building.
Shit.
And yeah, man, and pretty much like he really wanted somebody to say just go ahead and jump since he was on top of the building. But
Right.
a lot of people thought that this song was written about suicide, which it was not written about suicide.
Right.
Um, it was just pretty much like just about like going ahead, like just pretty much like jumping into the opportunity and stuff like that. That's like a weird way, but
Right.
like I just like songs with like a happy beat, but with like a darker message underneath it, and this is like
Mm-hmm.
one of them.
Right.
So I definitely love Eddie's guitar and synth on this one and stuff like that. Again, he was probably the MVP of the whole track.
Yeah, this was a an iconic song. As soon as it come on, everybody knows it, and it's one of their best songs. I mean, I'm saying it's one of their best songs. Like I know all their stuff, but it's just like the with the synths when that come on, it's just everybody recognizes that song, and they play that at shows and games and everything. And I love the beat. I think the beat is dope, and the bass line and the guitars and the David singing, and I know, baby, just how you feel. You got to roll, roll, roll with the punches and get to what's real, and
Yes.
go ahead and jump. You got to jump. I love that. Definitely a classic song, man. That's what I know them by.
Oh yeah, man. Like, and it's funny how you say like, even though you're not a
Mm,
big fan of Van Halen, you already know
right,
that it's like one of your favorite songs. And
right,
I'm not gonna get mad because like this song right here, like this is how. And I know that David Lee Roth was not like a fan of the synth sound, but
right,
the way how Eddie did it, it wasn't as cheesy because a lot of rock groups, I know around that time, were experimenting with the synth sound
right,
because synths mostly used like in like progressive rock a lot,
right.
certain disco, David Bowie, but then like a lot of '80s cats, they would experiment with the synths more often, like Fleetwood Mac,
Fleetwood Mac, yeah,
um, Rolling Stones. But the way Van Halen did it, it was just they made it more spacey, more atmospheric, but at the same time
right,
still having this hard rock authentic towards it.
exactly.
So yeah, which leads us into Panama, another one of that most iconic songs, a party song indeed. What I got from this track, and this is actually what I looked up, was
Mm-hmm.
Van Halen always used to get criticized for like doing all these like party songs,
Right.
these like loud, outlandish songs. And
Mm-hmm.
so they said, and I quote, "They were hard partying, hot women, fast cars." And David Lee Roth said, and I quote, "I take exception to that. I have never written a song about fast cars, but now
Right.
that you mention it, good idea." Unquote. Because if you guys don't know, Panama was referring to Panama Express, which is like it was like a drag race and stuff like
Right.
that. So
Right.
I love this song. I mean, it's definitely like one of the most hard hitting songs, stuff like that. The video, I love the video when David Lee Roth is like on his like little harness, some shit like that, just
Yeah.
being a damn fool. I mean, again, like like this is an album where they picked the right singles.
Pick the
I'm
right
just gonna be
singles.
real
Yeah.
with you on that. They picked the right singles with this one.
Right.
So yeah, classic track.
Definitely like this song, and um I like the video as well. The video was dope, and it has like real hard guitars and drums, and the chorus reminded me of what's the song, there was a song I was like, yo, like when they was doing the chorus, I'm like, yo, it reminded me of another song, but I forgot what it was. But it's definitely a solid cut on this album. I liked it.
Yes, sir. Very dope joint. Then we're gonna get into Top Jimmy. Excuse me. Very cool track. Like another song where Eddie's bass and Michael Anthony's excuse me, Eddie's guitar and Michael Anthony's bass really took center stage and whatnot. I definitely love this track. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, not as good as a Jump or Panama, but still a favorite of mine.
Right, definitely. It's a fast tempo song. Really hard drums. Really rock. A run of those real rock tracks. I love the guitars in it. Definitely a solid cut.
Yeah, very solid joint. Which leads us into Drop Dead Legs. Um, Again, another very solid joint. Pretty much like a sex joint, if you ask me. David Lee Roth seen this girl with like nice legs, and he pretty much wants to like get it in with her. That's pretty much what he's talking about. So very hot joint.
I love the guitar riff on here. Like it's really funky, really hard. Love the beat, the hi hats on this. David saying drop dead legs, pretty smile, hurts my head, gets me wild. Definitely one of my favorite tracks on this album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Hot for Teacher. Oh my god, my favorite track off this album.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the littlest things I love about. Like, first of all, Alex's like drum solo at the beginning, and then you have Eddie with the guitar solo coming. Da
right.
da 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 da.
Yes,
Ding 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 ding. Ding. Um, David Lee Roth, just feeling so alive. I love the line when he says, "Teacher, teacher, stop that screaming. Teacher, don't you see? Don't want to be no uptown fool. Maybe I should go to help. I'm doing well, and teacher needs to see me after school."
right,
And then when he says, "I heard about your lessons, but lessons are so cold. I know about this school. Little girl from Cherry Lawn, how could he be so bold? How did you know that golden rule?" Um, I don't know. This song was just one of my all-time favorite Van Halen songs,
yes,
and this song actually got a lot of controversy. I think because of the video, because at that time,
mm,
the video it featured like these little Van Halen as like little version of themselves, and they're in the classroom, and the teachers would like dress like they in like a beauty pageant or
right,
whatnot,
right,
and Tipper Gore, yeah, her pretty much this is around the time when she was doing the whole PMRC because around that time too she was offended by Princess Darling Nikki,
mm-hmm,
and that's when they started doing the whole parental advisory years later
right.
and stuff like that. Yeah, man, that song was controversial. So yeah, Hot for Teacher, classic track, my favorite off this album.
Yeah, definitely a funky track. Really hard drums, hard beat. I like the black and white video for the black and white video for the song, and when you had like the nerdy kid get on the when it starts the video starts off, you got like the nerdy kid get on the bus, and you see like when you go to the back of the bus, all the kids are like being rowdy, and I,
Right.
I love that video, and it spoke to like the '80s and that time, and I definitely like the song as well.
Yeah, man. This was their Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love, if you ask me.
Right.
Like just that very dope track.
Hmm.
Then we're gonna get into I'll Wait. I never knew this, but this was co-written by Michael McDonald of
Oh shit.
Doobie Brothers fame, which I was like Led Zeppelin. I mean Van Halen and Michael McDonald on the track. That's interesting.
Right.
But yeah, very cool joint. Definitely like the way David was singing this. When the background vocals came and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, yeah, man. Very, 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 very good song right here and stuff like that. So I love it.
Yes, definitely. It starts off with like really dark keys, and then you got the drum roll and the beat comes in. I love the hi hats on it, and it sounds like something from like an '80s soundtrack, like one of those, like Saint Elmo's Fire or something.
Yeah,
I like it, and David singing "You Got Me Captured, I'm Under Your Spell, I Guess I'll Never Learn, I Am Your Picture, Yes I Know It Well, Another Page is Turned." Definitely one of my favorite songs on this album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on
Yeah,
that. Definitely one of my favorites too. Never knew Michael McDonald had anything to do with this track, which seemed that's wild as fuck. But
right.
then you're gonna get into "Girl Gone Bad." Yeah, very. I love the beginning of this track, like how
Mm,
dark that guitar is and stuff like
yeah,
that. Um, very good, strong, good song. Just talking about the good girl gone bad, becoming the girl of the streets and shit like that. So very hot joint.
yeah. I like it's a real fast paced track. I like the hard beat on it. The guitars on it really has that rock and roll sound to it. Definitely a solid track.
Yes, sir. And then we're gonna get into last track, House of Pain. A brilliant way to end up the album is talking about Daily while kind of talking about some heartbreak and shit like that. I mean, again, another dark kind of song in my opinion. Yeah, I love this track.
Yeah, really dark, really funky track. Nice guitars on it again, being played, and the beat was really funky. I loved it. Really a great way to end the album out.
I agree. Overall, this is a very dope album. Possibly maybe my third favorite Van Halen album, if you ask me. Um, yeah, man, I want to say this was their best-selling album too.
Right,
I mean, this was David Lee Roth's swan song until they got back. The original lineup, not the original line, but when he came back for the 2012 album and shit.
right.
But yeah, very dope experimental album. Nice usages of the synths. Um, definitely, the band definitely felt alive with this album, and I love it. I'm gonna give this album a 5 out of 5.
Yes, that definitely a great album, and I want to say that MTV had a part in its influence.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like the rebelliousness of the '80s, and the rock and roll at at that time, and it was just a great song, and I think rock and roll and pop was at a huge point of that decade. So I think just watching that video all the time, I was like, I feel like MTV had something to do with that, and it's definitely a great album. It definitely would give it a 5. So
yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
yeah,
All right, Shrod. Yeah, definitely a very dope review on the Van Halen.
yes.
Like I said, this video is gonna go public March 1st.
So
So yeah, y'all stay tuned on that one. While y'all watching, y'all stay tuned on other videos. Hope y'all have a good night. Have a good
yes,
night, my nigga. Peace.
yes. Peace,
I'm gonna
yo.
text you the Launch Professor stuff too.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right.